These are becoming a little too big, are they not? Easily the largest civilization so far. Their architecture is astonishing, their war strategies unmatched, their weapons efficient and lethal, their soldiers skilled and sophisticated. They are bound to rule the world if no one else rises to their size and influence. That won't happen. Comfort is a plague that prompts the downfall of the best, and they're already infected by it. Not to mention the internal corruption and continuous decline of strong leadership. I could not care less about them, but I do see an opportunity they could provide for us. What would that be? I wish for a man to be born as the Son of God, my son, an embodiment of purity in their eyes. He would serve as living proof of my existence, a claim that many would question. I then need him to be killed shortly after, presumably tortured prior to it in front of a large, unwilling audience, followers of his. When this happens, I'll toy around with a few calamities. They will put two and two together. I see. A very ambitious and methodical plan. If it succeeds, we can expect a dramatic increase in power generation, the strength of their prayers higher than ever. I suspect it might even reach its full potential. I presume you want him to carry the morals they think you have, correct? Correct. This is where you come in. Intrigued, he began floating around his master, almost as if daydreaming. Compassionate, loving, fearless, merciful, the ultimate saint. I can already picture him. His mind and body will demand the most out of my craft. But fear not. Nothing is out of my reach regarding the beauty of creation. You understand my vision already. I am impressed. Nevertheless, he must be perfect. Heed my instructions carefully. 11:21. Having just woken up, Isaac remains lying on his back in the middle of the cave, wondering about the roller coaster of death and confusion the past 2 days have been. The thought of going to New York just keeps popping up in his head, and he doesn't know why. He's already made up his mind about it. It's like there's someone constantly reminding him of it in his ear. It's strange how he didn't exactly use his power against those thugs yesterday. It was nothing more than a violent, fast-paced brawl. To be fair, he's not even sure how exactly it would be used. It's likely that more practice sessions are required beforehand. Although, the next one should probably be at a remote location. Experimentation has proved to cause possible explosions, if they can even be called that. That necromancer has really seeded himself into his mind. He wonders about both of them being cut from the same cloth. It's unlikely that they have similar powers, but they must come from somewhere, right? Could it be the same source? He needs answers. Seeking out this person does give him shivers, but it's all he's got. Unless other events that might redirect the course take place first. Moreover, New York is where the Anarchy Angels are situated. They might be a mountain too steep to hope of climbing, though, at least as of now. Nonetheless, it's crucial that he finally remembers them. He then gets up and heads towards the cave's exit, the bright daylight prompting him to raise his arm up to his eyes for a moment. He wonders about how other people see him during the day. He has such a dark and gloomy appearance after all. He likely looks like some sort of anomaly, something not meant to exist at this hour, an unsettling contrast to all the vibrant colors surrounding him. It really is a beautiful day in the forest. The sound of birds chirping and leaves being rustled by the wind blasts his ears as he stands by the edge of the small mountain. How long is flying to New York going to take anyway? He's convinced it won't take that long. He can fly pretty fast after all. With the help of the sun, he's able to easily deduce the direction in which he's meant to go, having basic knowledge of the country's geography. And so, he soars to the skies once more, going as high as possible so as to avoid being seen by the people below, floating amidst the clouds themselves. Never before in his life has he been so naive. Little did he know just how long this journey was going to take. Unknown. A man is reading a journal inside a luxurious living room, sitting on a large black and red couch in front of a fireplace. The walls, ceiling, and floor are painted in different shades of black, giving an eerie aura to the place. The walls hold various portraits of different people, all seemingly ordinary. Resting atop of the ceiling is an onyx chandelier, faintly illuminating the area along with the fireplace. Juneau, Alaska. A night of horror. Mysterious massacre leaves police baffled. Oh, he faintly hums to himself. Yet another recent host attack has left the residents of Juneau searching for answers. A brutal massacre took place last night inside an abandoned warehouse reported to hold gang activity on the outskirts of the city. Authorities were quickly called by a man who heard gunshots and screaming coming from the warehouse. As officers arrive, they stumble upon what can only be described as a bloodbath. The unusually tame details of the attack have left everyone wondering about the host's abilities, as usual. This time, though, nothing particularly striking took place that could have shaken the people. When police entered the building, they were met with mangled bodies, blood splattered across walls and ceilings, as well as body parts scattered throughout the warehouse. Such a simple sight was enough for everyone to dismiss this host's abilities as suspiciously straightforward. It is also worth noting that the perpetrator was likely still at the site when authorities arrived, as a loud banging noise was suddenly heard from the rooftop. However, upon making their way there, no one was found. He adjusts his body on the couch, a curious glint in his eyes. What are you, curious little creature? Just another nobody on a power trip? Or perhaps something more? He says, his words drawing out, reading the article on the laptop sitting on his lap. His right hand holds a glass of what appears to be blood, occasionally sipping from it as he reads. Because of the details of the massacre, residents are speculating it not to be the work of a host, but something else entirely. Social media is buzzing with theories ranging from a rogue bear to a mythical creature of Alaskan folklore. In spite of it, the majority of the population, including authorities, are urging the public not to speculate on something unknown until more information is available, reassuring that it is possible for a host to possess fairly straightforward abilities. The veins around his eyes darkened, a small and unsettling smile spanning across his lips. I can feel Samson's rage within you. What drives you? I'm so eager to know. And yet, that's all there is, really. You don't seem special. But I'm always happy to be proven wrong, should you decide to do so. Still, I'm sure there's more to you than meets the eye. He takes a sip from the glass before scrolling down, examining the pictures of a few bodies that were taken. Such normalcy. Interesting. You seem to enjoy using your hands, which is more that can be said for many, even myself. He leans forward to place the glass down on top of the coffee table. I'll keep you in the back of my mind. I've never seen an orb merely augment someone's strength, if that's truly what it is. The next day, 1704. Boredom had a higher chance of killing him than anything else up until now. After an excruciatingly long and mentally exhausting trip of over 30 hours, he finally arrives in New York. There were many stops along the way in remote areas, mostly to stretch, but also to watch the scenery. This has got to be the most tedious trip he's ever had the displeasure of taking. The only saving grace is that flying about in the clouds is in fact an experience unlike any other, thus making it bearable enough. He's not safe yet due to the lack of refuge, as well as the sun still shining bright. He only hopes that no random bystander witnesses a black dot in the sky and decides to call the police. Something that doesn't really make much sense, but his paranoia can't help it. All of this flying has also left him extremely grumpy, with no real way of showing it. It's difficult to do so without a body. It's understandable, though. No eating, no sleeping, no social interaction. He's been deprived of the human experience for a while now, and it's only gonna get worse. It feels so suffocating, the middle of the city, even in the skies. Thankfully, it doesn't take long until he notices what appears to be a dilapidated church, deciding to check it out. It's in a quiet suburban area, the best he could ask for. Rather symbolic for someone like him to hide in a church. He carefully descends to ground level, his gas-like body seeping through a tiny fracture in the wall, letting himself in. The walls are decayed and cracked, the floor missing planks here and there, but not too bad. The pews are almost all broken to pieces scattered about everywhere, all but one at the far front, strangely enough. The windows and entrances are barricaded, giving the place an almost post-apocalyptic feeling, preventing any sunlight from coming in, and spying eyes from watching. Perfect for a hideout. He can always leave through that same fracture as well, with no need to open up an entrance anywhere, avoiding suspicion. Back with a physical body, he looks around the main room. There is broken furniture everywhere, coupled with some religious artifacts such as crucifixes and tarnished chalices lying on the floor. Graffiti can be seen sprayed across the walls, as well as cobwebs as far as the eye can see, on the walls, corners, the ceiling, and even underneath the floor, where a colony of spiders seems to have taken over. Good thing he's not arachnophobic. He can't practice here. There's too much risk. Any loud noise and his cover is blown. No point in training, too. Not when he seems to already be beyond human limits. In spite of that, he decides to do some push-ups anyway, just to see how it feels. It was difficult to find a spot to do so, however, one that could support his weight and not crumble into the spiders below. After finding it, he did push-ups continuously for about half an hour. He couldn't even be bothered to count them. His body feels so light, a somewhat hot feeling. When he moves his arms and legs, there's no sense of weight to them, yet they certainly do to others. This allows him to perform almost lightning speed attacks. He almost feels like a liquid. There really is no point. Nothing causes exertion to his muscles, thus prompting him to stop. 2 hours have already passed, his frustration evident in his heavy footsteps, walking around in circles. He only wished to be doing something productive, a natural human need. He explores the rest of the church, immediately realizing how small and uninteresting it is before returning to the main room. He did come across a worn-out Bible, taking it with him to the pew. He read a grand total of 2 paragraphs before remembering that he doesn't really enjoy reading, flinging the book aside carelessly before glancing up at the ceiling, both hands rubbing his masked face. This is where he internally snaps. He picks up a plank and starts hitting it against the pew like a bored child, producing loud clanks, completely forgetting about his need to stay quiet. Could I at the very fucking least have some water? He thinks to himself. A rather monumental task, oddly enough, but can still be done. He doesn't need it, he just wants it. The exact opposite of what one would expect for water for most people. Giving up on the plank hitting activity and tossing it aside, he tries to do a handstand against the wall. As expected, he fails miserably over and over again. His hat also fell, causing his body to move on its own to pick it back up, startling him for a moment. My worst nightmare in PE class. He eventually accepts the futility in trying to do anything at all, settling down on the pew with his arms crossed. The cold ambience inside the church feels awfully nice, making him sleepy, his eyes slowly closing. He wonders how his family is doing. It's okay. They're not in any danger, likely just anxious about his unexplainable disappearance. He must put them at ease as soon as he can, probably with some kind of letter like he thought of previously. Well, now that he thinks about it, telling them what he was forced into becoming will likely do the exact opposite of putting them at ease. Still, it will always be preferable to not knowing anything at all. His eyes eventually flutter shut, his body put into a slumber. He later wakes up to the sound of something falling within the church. As his white eyes shoot open, he sees a young man in a corner of the main room, leaning against the wall next to a door to his left. He has short, curly blonde hair, small silver earrings and blue eyes, looking to be in his early 20s. He's wearing a plain white sweater with vertical rows of continuous diamond shapes, as well as blue jeans and white sneakers. Hey there. Isaac, caught off guard yet choosing not to overreact, slowly stood up from the pew, eyes locking with his. The overwhelming silence only makes this encounter even more eerie. Thought you'd be hostile, but you don't seem to be. That's good. I am not your enemy, okay? Let's just get that out of the way, he says, slightly raising his arms. His inability to speak will prove difficult to have a conversation with this man. He quickly checks how he's displayed in his thermal vision, being shown a gray color enveloping his body. There doesn't seem to be anything worth worrying about, but he won't drop his guard based on this alone. He slowly closes the gap between them, hands buried in his pockets. Isaac remains as he is, skeptical, yet unshaken. He stops, now standing much closer, although still a moderate distance away. There was a look of distress on his face for a moment, as if something was heavily bothering him, yet it quickly faded away. 21 kills already? He asks, looking surprised in a disappointed manner. That's a lot. Can't really say I approve of that, but I also can't disregard your will to make a difference. Now that's something to raise an eyebrow to, which he does. Isaac's lack of response prompts him to question it. What's the matter? You are human, right? There was a slight hint of fear in his voice. Or are you just mute, perhaps? He slowly nodded in response, his hands crossed. Oh, well, that certainly makes things difficult, but not impossible. As long as you understand me, we're good. His eyes wandered sideways for a moment. I just want to let you know that you're starting to fuck around. I suppose you know what happens when you do that, right? You find out. And what you'll find out is that things won't be as easy as they are now. He now stands directly in front of Isaac. He seems to be an awfully trusting person, Either that or he's confident enough to confront him, should things go south. By the way, you've probably come to this conclusion already, but just in case, you aren't alone inside your head anymore. He turned his back on him. Anyways, I'm gonna think about this. If you wanna fuck around, you might as well not do it alone, he said before looking over his shoulder. See you later, Isaac. His vision starts to blur out of nowhere as he tumbles down to his knees. After getting his bearings a few seconds later, the man was gone. No trace of his arrival or departure to be found anywhere. He's not sure what to make of this, but the fact that he knew of his supposed kill count should sound an alarm. Not to mention he also knew his name, which is far more suspicious. Baffled as to how he got in, he searches the entire church from top to bottom, every nook and cranny, running around mindlessly from one place to the next. It beats him. Based on his words, this man has to somehow know what he's been doing. Perhaps there's been coverage of his murders on the news already? Yet even if there has, he doubts that they were able to connect the first murder, the second, and the slaughter at the warehouse as work of the same perpetrator. At least not this quick. And that's not even the worst part. He also knows that there's something coexisting within his mind. There's no way that should be possible, unless he also possesses something similar to him, allowing him to identify another cut from the same cloth. This is nothing more than a theory, however, one possibly troublesome to believe in. If they are to meet again, as he said, he needs to keep his guard up around this fishy person. This whole encounter felt so surreal in general. He really did have a supernatural look to him, something not hidden in plain sight, like himself, but instead hidden under several layers of normalcy and appearances. Isaac sits back down on the pew, his mind racing. Still, he shouldn't be thinking about conspiracy theories and possible future scenarios. The present matters much more as of now. He's in dire need to discover more about his powers. That's at the top of the list. Before doing so, however, he wishes for even more of the red mist. Even though he's sure the last power surge he felt did unlock further potential. Why is he so eager for more already? Not even he himself knows. It's unsettling, to say the least. This new thermal vision is sure to make things easier for him. There is no nice way to put it. A lot of people are going to die tonight, and he's not going to care one bit about them. A monster is already in the making, and it's up to him to realize it before it's too late. It's okay. They deserve it, don't they? Just turn your brain off and do the thing. Don't you dare see them as human. It doesn't want you to. But it's not like being a human is exactly a good thing either.